you would be misled if you were to think that the special agreement nullifies the April 1859 treaty. That is not true. Absolutely false statement. It is an interpretation that Mr. Morgan chooses to make, but it's not true. And you can ask any lawyer, it doesn't have to be an international lawyer, that if you ask a court, if you have an agreement with somebody, and you go to court and ask the court to say who is right, and to determine who is right, does that mean you're tearing up that agreement, or you're asking the court to look at that agreement? You can look at all the different territorial claims, the different decisions, the one that Mr. Morgan mentioned, for example, between Nigeria and Cameroon. Why did the court take that decision? Because it based that decision that he mentioned on a treaty. On a treaty. So when you go to the court, and it's just common sense, how could you even let yourself listen to that? That if you have an agreement and you go to court to decide who is right and who is wrong, the court will tear up, or you have torn up that agreement, or you're asking the court to interpret and enforce that agreement. Please, man, it doesn't even bear consideration.
But Dr. Shoman, I didn't say tears it up. I can't even pronounce that word well. I said that there's a conflict. There's a conflict. That's what I said.
Good night. Panelists, I want to follow up my question in what Mr. Shoman just mentioned. With the 1859 treaty, what I understand about treaties is that if any treaty should be nullified, it has to be agreed by both parties. And I don't see anything here in this special agreement that says that it's nullifying the 1859 treaty. I don't know if this says that in the English language. It does not say that. But my question is that if the 1859 treaty has established our borders, we accept, and that is, in my opinion, title to what Belize is entitled to. And it was ratified in 1931, and it's on the basis of what we gain our independence. Now, my question is, if we go to the ICJ, to my understanding, I think passing judgment over the question of Belize has to be done based on international law and on principles on international law. So the boundaries of and I think a question on a past lecture that you gave, you said that even if the 1859 treaty is expires or is nullified, the boundaries must remain the same. Can you explain and confirm that we are talking about the boundaries of Belize not being intact? Thank you.
Who's the question for?
Well, it's absolutely correct. I think people tend to limit ourselves. We Belizeans tend to limit ourselves to think that the 1859 treaty is the only thing that defines our border. That's the only plan we have. People say, so what else you have if the 1859 treaty disappears? International law does not only look at treaties. International look at treaties first, because treaties are the primary source of international law. But there are other sources of international law, such as customary law. The fact that we have been living here peacefully, occupying, administrating this whole territory, from the Rio Hondo to the Sarstoon, that gives us international customary rights over the entire territory of Belize. With or without the treaties, this land belongs to us. But beside that, we have the principles of international law. The principal one being the right to self-determination. Every people have a right to determine how it is they want to live, how it is they want to be governed, how it is they want to govern themselves. They elect their own representatives, they elect their own governments within a given territory. We have our territory from the Rio Hondo to the Sarstoon. The whole international community supports us except Guatemala. So we have that too. That is also a source of international law, a source of our rights, the right to self-determination. And as was referred to by Mr. Morgan, the fact that the court has looked at so many boundary and international disputes. And one thing that has been consistent in all their decisions has been that a boundary once established by agreement has a legal life of its own, independent of the treaty itself. So you could tear up the treaty, it does not matter, that boundary will remain. Guatemala can declare the 1859 treaty null and void. They can say no valid. It does not matter. That boundary remains. You could tear up the treaty, that boundary will remain because that is part of international law. That's it.